Hello, everybody, and welcome Donald, the founder and CEO of BlueSky Creations. We are excited to have you with us today.
Thank you.
And we all know that the only constant is change in today's environment, especially with technology, with the pandemic, and a lot of other factors. And during these times, it's so essential that as organizations and HR departments, we continue to take an innovative path towards our HR and business management systems and how to engage with our workforces. And we're excited that this tech talk will explore more about the technology changes that we can leverage to stay ahead of the curve and keep a competitive advantage. And that is by leveraging and making the most of our workforce. So over to you, Donald.
Thank you very much. So I'll go and share my screen now and we'll go straight into it. Oops. Sorry, I'm having a bit of trouble sharing my screen here. Is everybody seeing that screen?
Hi, Donald. Can you hear me?
Yes. Is anyone? Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
You can now. Okay, beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry about that. All right. Well, look. Thank you very much, everybody, for spending some time to hear what we've got to say about people management software in the future of HR. I thought before we sort of start, I think it's important that I describe some of our beliefs, because at the end of the day, our beliefs drive our approach to software provision and development. But essentially, our job is to provide a sustainable competitive advantage to our customers. And of course, that's ultimately more and more difficult because as competition improves and change becomes something that we just have to live with, then something sustainable is difficult to achieve. And the only way we can do that is by trying to attempt a continuous improvement model. And we've heard a lot of some really brilliant conversations today about the future of HR. Well, one of the things that we believe is that for an organisation to really get the benefit is that the solutions that we provide have to be complete. They have to be broad. And I know that that flies in the face of the concept of best of breed, but we believe that best of breed is no longer a best of breed payroll with a best of breed time and attendance and a best of breed appraisal system. A best of breed now is the platform of which all of those things need to be included. So, you know, if we look at the four things we've got here, automation, I think it's just taken that our software that we implement must provide for high degrees of automation. We know that casualisation is going to increase. We've already seen it happening in Australia as a result of the pandemic. Side shows for that will be things like welfare and job security, and therefore the need to look after our people is going to become even more important. And then, of course, competition. It's going to get greater and greater. And as we've seen now that location and where you work is going to become less important, all it means is that our competitive landscape is going to get wider and broader. So therefore, we need to be able to maintain that. We've got to come with what we call completeness. And to really maintain that benefit going forward, it's going to lean into optimisation. And the thing about optimisation and artificial intelligence and machine learning, it can only happen if it's got really good data to work with. And of course, if we're going to have a system with, you know, a separate module for looking after well-being and a separate module for looking after timesheets and something else for induction and onboarding, suddenly we've got a disconnected data platform, and therefore it's going to be very hard to be able to leverage and make better decisions by reviewing that data. So we believe completeness is the secret sauce that will then allow what we call optimization. So if I just sort of have a look here, I'm going to talk, what I thought I would do is rather than do a demonstration of product, I would talk about some of the problems we've solved from what we call a disparate users from different organizations, completely different locations, solving different problems. So in the BlueSky platform, we provide 30 integrated modules, and that is really touching every single piece of your HR process. So we've seen examples today of handling conversations. or we manage all your conversations in the single platform. But while the conversations in the platform, what makes it special is that we can have conversations about something. And then we've got what we call the regarding item about a conversation. So if we've got a leave problem, we have a conversation about it. If we've got a scheduling issue, we can have a conversation about it. So it takes it right from the process of recruitment, onboarding, induction, succession management, appraisal, 360-degree learning management, and they are all fully integrated as one single platform. But ironically, not one use case we got at the moment that is utilizing every single one of these modules. So what I thought I would do is I'll go through 6 examples of problems that we were asked to solve and how we solve them with the BlueSky platform. So the first example was an NDIS care provider. What were the problems they had? They had a problem with recruitment. They were not getting their they needed to find carers. The demand for carers is increasing all the time. The quality of the carer, given the low wage, what could they do to further engage them, keep them involved? How were they going to better manage the quality of the service that they provided to their NDIS participants? And they had, I think, 6 separate applications that they were trying to manage to get the end-to-end process of their business. So their business is about finding carers, providing those carers to the right customers, the right participants who have specific needs. So therefore those carers need to have the specific skills to meet those specific needs. There's the whole area of compliance around making sure that people have got the right certification. So the pressure on onboarding and induction was critical. So, and then when they put people out to the home care, how do they track that the right people are turning up to do the right work? So they wanted, for safety of their participants, given it's in-home care, is the concept of facial recognition for allocation to work. So that was an example where they needed to sort out their front office and their back office systems to make the process of getting the right candidates into their business, to provide those candidates to meet the problems, the needs of their participants at the right time. Now, where the secret sauce is coming from them is the next phase is the implementation of surveys for well-being, not only well-being of the carers and the participants, but understanding how well the relationship is going between the carer and the participant. And then using labour optimisation with machine learning to actually match the right people with the right skills who are in the right location. Because at the moment, they're wasting, I think, collectively 240 hours a week in travel time that they will then be able to optimise by getting the right people travelling to the right place in the right order at the right time. So now they've gone from 6 solutions into 1 solution, managing the entire process right through to integration to their financials and payroll systems. So that was the NDIS provider. Another example is an international airport, which are completely different to the NDIS provider. Their problem is talent management. They want to really grow their leaders in their business. So they are using the main modules that drive their business is their performance development, performance analysis, appraisal, learning and conversations, and succession planning, right down to the 9-box matrix. So everything is driven initially from their recruitment by looking at the objectives they're trying to meet strategically as a business. We capture them in the development areas. And then what their Queensland airports are able to do is they're able to then manage the performance of their team leaders by agreeing in advance what are the objectives they have for each of those individuals? What are the goals that they're going to set out for those individuals over the next 12 months? How important are each of those goals to the actual overall goal so we can focus on the important ones, and then free that through to constant feedback and constant conversations in the context of the things that they're trying to achieve. And it ultimately is all about heat maps and succession planning to get the right people growing through the business so that they have a continual high degree of quality in their leadership team. So it's a completely different problem that they're trying to solve than the NDIS provider. And again, you can see they're using different parts of the solution. But it is ultimately about collaboration. Everything we talk about is about collaboration. We talk about mentors and mentorees. We were engaged by New Zealand Rugby because New Zealand Rugby, they sat down with us and we talked about how best could they how are they going to retain their position as the best rugby team on the planet? And in their mind, it's all about coaches. It's not about players. Great coaches create great players. And in their biggest mantra is feedback. So the constant feedback, constant loop, constant reappraisal. So in their system, their main areas that they're focusing on is in the learning management, what makes great leaders, how to give good feedback, how to manage well under pressure. Those are the whole lot of learning management modules that we have designed with New Zealand Rugby, and then subsequently being picked up by 2 world sporting organisations to put through all of their members throughout the globe what makes great coaches. So again, they're only using a subset of this complete solution, but their plan is now to move into recruitment and succession planning and onboarding to help their sporting bodies that are part of their membership around the world onboard the right coaches that will meet with the right culture of their business. So again, a slightly different approach. It is a bit like talent management, but there is a lot of feedback, a lot of players giving feedback, a lot of referees giving feedback, and it's ultimately all about feedback, all about conversations, and then using that to ultimately grow their coaches. And again, it's all around collaboration. So they've got mentors, they invite their own people into their cohort, and they grow themselves. But again, it's a different use case on a single platform. So, and a lot of these things, and again, without exception, every one of these examples have come from 4 or 5 different modules that they've been trying, or different software applications that they've been trying to cobble.
Apologies, Donald. Just to check in quickly, we're unable to hear you just now. Do you mind checking if accidentally the mute was turned on? Donald, just to let you know, at the moment, you appear to be on mute. Can you hear me? Okay, we'll try you via message. In the meantime, we can enjoy this slide on all the different HR workflows and how BlueSky can help integrate and connect for a complete HR management solution.
So in terms of infrastructure, this other problem we were solving was this issue to do with they needed to find the right railway workers to work above rail and under rail, and there's a real focus on the rostering and the qualifications, because they can't have the people working who don't have the right qualifications. So their driving was around scheduling, timesheets, finance, police checks, immigration checks, all in a single platform. And then likewise, driving into surveys to deliver a better outcome for their customers. So again, a different problem using the same platform. Now here's a completely different problem using the BlueSky platform. This is a national retailer, 10,000 staff, multiple distribution centres around Australia. What was their problem? Their problem is that they're trying to move 1 billion items out of their warehouses every month. And then how do they get that product from their distribution centres out to their all of their retail outlets across Australia at the right time to meet the order demand? And I tell you, that has changed dramatically since pandemic. So the real focus about this was taking in historical volume and how it's processed by minute, by day, by week, by year, and forecasting the volume that we believe is going to need to be processed today, next week. Using that volume, we are using mathematics and artificial intelligence, building the most optimum roster to process that volume. During the day, we're capturing the information every 2 minutes as to where they're tracking Have they, if they should have processed 90,000 units by 11 o'clock today, they've only processed 85,000 units. What are they going to do to take advantage of that? And that uses a very sophisticated mathematics to work out the forecast, work out the roster, to make sure that when the product has to be at a certain retail outlet in the middle of Queensland by 5 o'clock tonight, that it's going to be picked and it's going to be on the truck and it's going to be loaded in time. And we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars of wage spend, and they're managing to save 5, 6 or 7 points in performance because they've got the right people working at the right time. But again, this is probably the largest of our customers, and yet they're only using a few of the modules. But the point I would like to make is that they have embedded product like, for example, Kronos time and attendance, and they have other products that are already embedded in their system. But because BlueSky has time and attendance and timesheeting, it was very easy for us to develop the integration from that Kronos so that they still had completeness, even though they couldn't do it all inside BlueSky. So the fact that we can deliver all of the separate modules improves our ability to develop the API or to provide the API integrations that we do, so that even when you do have embedded applications, it's not a big ask to move it to get that completeness. But they can only get the completeness if they've got all the data available to them. So that's the concept of forecasting data. And then, of course, simple. Here's another example: state government, complex payroll solution, time and attendance payroll processing, 10 to 15,000 pays at a time. So, and that's the only 2 modules they use because they've got embedded applications for the rest of the suite. But it was very easy for us to embed these 2 modules into them because we understood the demands of those applications, and that's where the benefit comes. So essentially, it's what we're proposing here is that we believe completeness is critical. If you've got completeness, then you've got better data to then analyze and then make better decisions. For example, one of our data scientists at the moment is developing algorithms to analyze the conversations that are being had to look for feminine bias to masculine bias, because it's something that one of our clients are worried about. That's an example of analyzing conversations. Analyzing surveys in terms of, recruitment management. If you've got SurveyMonkey capturing the satisfaction of your candidates, it's suddenly data that's independent of your main platform. And we think that will then hinder your ability to optimize and then make better decisions going forward because the data is not available. So I've just scroll through a couple of screens here because I hit the wrong button. I do apologize. So that's really where I want to leave it and open it up to some questions about whether is completeness critical or not. Is it acceptable now, for example, can you believe that you can get everything from one solution? I believe you can. And I believe that the pressures of our own competition and our own space demands that we're providing software which is much broader. No longer is it acceptable to have an application that can post jobs. Well, that should come for free out of your recruitment system. The ability to parse your CVs, you should be getting that now as part of your wider platform. And the ability to be flexible and automated should be things that just are expected. But ultimately, completeness, we think, is the secret sauce. That's the thing we think makes the difference. Thank you. Hopefully, we've got a time for a few questions.
Donald, thank you so much for this very insightful talk. One quick question: with all the amazing products we've seen today, how can BlueSky help to implement and integrate them into the businesses? And we've got 1 minute left.
Well, I sort of alluded to that when I said that we had an organization that had embedded Kronos, and therefore we needed to integrate our solution with Kronos. Because we have our own time and attendance solution and we understand the data model, it was very simple for us to do that integration. Likewise, integrating to Xero payroll, very simple because we've got our own payroll system, so we know what's required. So when we did our completeness vision, it was so that we could, 1, have a complete solution, but 2, we understood the requirements of complete so that we could integrate. So you have very strong API integration on a complete platform, and that's what brings it together. That that complete data set then allows you to use artificial intelligence and really smart mathematics to provide better insights to your leaders.
Fantastic, Donald. Really appreciate that. And make sure that you visit the BlueSky booth in the Partner Lounge to find more resources and also to network with Donald and to participate in the gamification challenge as well. Thanks so much, Donald. And
Thank
we're
you very
looking
much.
forward to staying in touch with you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.